What's going on there, YouTube, and welcome to Fresh Comic Stories. Now guys, this is the channel where we basically sit down and talk about different kinds of comics, like Marvel, DC, and sometimes other comic book companies. But today guys, we are going to sit down and dive back into the X-Men and pick up with Uncanny X-Men number 123 and 124. Now the reason why we're going to dive back into the X-Men is because we're going to sit down and try to continue our coverage over the the Uncanny X-Men reading order. Now again, in this video right here, we're only covering 123 and 124, where the X-Men do fight against Arcade, a very unique character, but honestly he is kind of cool if you kind of take away his weird outfit. But guys, I do hope you enjoyed this video, and if you do, please hit that like button down below and also subscribe for more comic book stories in the near future. But let's dive into Uncanny X-Men 123 and 124. We start today's storyline with Spider-Man right now web swinging around New York, just having one of his usual normal days. We then see Spider-Man swing down to say hi to Cyclops and Colleen Wing. Now this is Marvel really telling us that Colleen Wing and Cyclops are dating officially now. And this is just these three characters just saying hi to one another because they recently teamed up in a different book working alongside with Iron Fist. Now, as soon as Spider-Man says goodbye to Cyclops and Colleen Wing, that is when we see a random garbage truck appear out of nowhere. And some kind of device comes out and grabs Cyclops and Colleen Wing. Now, Spider-Man realized who that garbage truck belongs to. It belongs to a character named Arcade, and he has to warn the rest of the X-Men on just what happened to their teammate. Now we pick up with Colossus, Nightcrawler, and their girlfriends because right now they are going on a double date. They got tickets to some kind of opera show, and supposedly Charles Xavier has a private box there. The problem is though, when they walk into the private box, it is another trap by Arcade and his henchmen, and they get taken away. The same trend happens to all of the X-Men. Wolverine gets taken while he was leaving to go back home after seeing Mariko, the girl he met in Japan and just quickly fell in love with. With Storm and Banshee, they are at home right now waiting for the X-Men to come back home. You have Spider-Man try to call the X-Men to warn them about Arcade, but by the same time Spider-Man calls the X-Men, he is too late because Arcade attacks the X-Mansion and captures Storm and Banshee as well. Okay, so if you don't know who Arcade is, he first appeared in Marvel Team Up number 65, where he tried to fight against Spider-Man and Captain Britain by capturing them and putting them into his Murder World trap. Now, Murder World is basically this amusement park that Arcade made to kill superheroes. He always just keeps rebuilding it to make it better and better to kill off whoever he had been hired to kill. But that is a quick rundown on Arcade at this point in Marvel Comics, because after capturing the X-Men, he transports them to his Murder World. Of course, when he does transport them, he separates the X-Men and put them in different rooms that he designed to kill each of them. Now, the most important character to get thrown into a room is Colossus, because something I have not been talking about in our last couple X-Men videos is that Colossus feels like he is useless to the team. Ever since Magneto and some other villains have beaten him up, he felt like he was useless because he's never been able to kind of help the X-Men out. And so when he gets transported to Arcade's Murder World, he runs into a man who brainwashed him, and by making him think he is a traitor to his country. And with him being brainwashed, he attacks Wolverine and Cyclops as soon as those two were able to regroup with one another after they broke out of their trap rooms. Now, what makes the second half of this story so cool, not really cool, but kind of like, it's Chris Claremont saying, hey, listen, I know, you know, we all know this. Arcade is a very unique character. Like, he is weird. Matter of fact, guys, being a young kid, when I heard, here comes Arcade, I was kind of like, man, Arcade. Like, honestly, Arcade was not really a popular character to me personally. But you have Chris Claremont trying to point something out here. He's saying, yes, Arcade is a weird character. He is weird. Hands down, he's weird. But what makes Arcade unique is that Arcade studied his opponents. He knew what their weaknesses were because he's trying to use their weaknesses against them to kill them off. Remember, when the X-Men got transported to Murder World, they got put into different rooms, and each room was designed to kill off that X-Men member. But what made the X-Men basically overcome this is that the X-Men have been trained to fight against their weaknesses, to overcome their weaknesses. So even though Arcade sat down and said, this room here is made for Wolverine, or this room right here is made for Storm or Nightcrawler, the X-Men have been trained to overcome their weaknesses and then try to find each other to work together to save the rest of their teammates. The X-Men were prepared for this, and so was Arcade. And so you have Chris Claremont saying, Arcade is a unique character. He's weird, but he had a game plan. The problem is though, his game plan fell apart because the X-Men, they sat down and said, hey, listen, we knew about these weaknesses of ours, and we were trained to overcome those weaknesses very quick and easy. Now, we also find out who hired Arcade, and we kind of find out it was Black Tom. And of course, Black Tom being the cousin of Banshee, and the thing is, Black Tom just wants to kill off Banshee. That's all it is. And so you have Black Tom and Juggernaut, the half-brother of Charles Xavier, work together to hire Arcade to kill off Banshee and the X-Men because Black Tom hates his cousin. But to wrap up this video, you have the X-Men actually escape Murder World. They even get Colossus to turn back into a good guy, and it's kind of like, okay, we're done. But you do have Arcade leave a note saying, you guys won this round, but the next round, you guys are not going to win. And that's the end of this storyline right here. Now guys, please leave me a like down below and also subscribe for more comic book stories in the near future. Also, any suggestions on books I should read, well, let me know in the comments below because you never know, your suggestion could be a future video down the road. But guys, I'm out of here and I'll see you on the next comic book video. Later guys.